Hello and welcome everyone, I am Madals and welcome to another StarCraft 2 England cast. And well, today guys, I have got a best of one ladder game and it is between GoOdy, the red Terran player in the lower right position, and in the top left his opponent ToXiC, the blue Protoss. So of course that does mean that this is going to be a TVP. It is an awesome matchup that I absolutely love because when you get a Zerg in the matchup, they have such a different mechanic in the way they produce workers and just the way they play that, obviously with the lava mechanic I'm talking about, that it can make things a bit unpredictable, whereas with Terran and Protoss, they've got obviously similar things. Protoss obviously have warp gate, tech, etc., but it means that things ramp up quite steadily. Both players generally have a very similar structure in when they can get units and how quickly they can amass them. The Protoss slightly quicker. You've got some key milestones as well, like the point at which Terran players get stim for Marines and Marauders, which makes them just oh so good against those gateway units. And then obviously you get the point where you start getting splash damage out from the Protoss, be it Colossi or be it High Templar with Storm. And basically these kind of set milestones, the interactions between them, and of course when you throw in the usual drops and everything else, I find it a really, really interesting matchup to watch. So let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Do you like TVPs? What is your favourite matchup? Just let me know. Just leave a comment and it'll be cool. And anyway, a belated Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays or whatever you want me to call it to everyone who watches my channel, because it's currently Boxing Day as I'm recording this. I know it will come out a couple of days after that, but basically, yeah, I thought I'd cast some games. It's 11 PM here English time on Boxing Day. I've seen all the family, I've done all that, and I thought, hey, may as well just cast a few StarCraft games because I love StarCraft, and I have to admit, not casting any on Christmas Day, even though I released some on my channel, I didn't actually cast any, was a bit of a shock to the system because for the last year I've pretty much cast a game every single day of the year. So hoping to keep that up in 2013. But let's talk a little bit about what's going on. Well, GoOdy straight away going for a command center first opening. So he is going economy to the max. Meanwhile, ToXiC is down here with the gateway up, so that's all good. Supply block though, that is less good. That was a really, really long supply block actually, like epically long supply blocked. But that's fine. The probe coming in saying, hey, GoOdy has got nothing at all right now apart from a command center and a barracks building. He cannot attack me, which is always good news. Meanwhile, GoOdy should follow this up with another barracks. There we go. So everything all coming down as planned, as expected. And that makes it really quite nice for ToXiC because he's like, well, I've seen what you've got on your base. I know you can't be doing anything funny, so I'm going to build a pylon. Because that's just fun, because a possible add-on to this is you get third barracks, and of course the problem is that when you put that down it prevents the third barracks, and that can actually be quite irritating for GoOdy if he was trying to go for 3 racks really, really quickly to produce a lot of Marines in order to make sure that he was defending against any early aggression. The Cybercore just finishing up now for ToXiC, who's also got his 1 gas up, so they're still looking good, and now getting his Nexus, so a pretty standard 1 gate expansion. And that's really in response. You've got 2 ways you can really deal with seeing a command center first. You can either go, hey, I'm going to kill you, which is a perfectly reasonable strategy, or you can just expand as well. To be honest, ToXiC probably was going to do that anyway, that 1 gate expansion. I doubt he would have gone for much more pressure. I mean, if ToXiC did particularly want to go for some kind of 1 base play, the one thing he could have theoretically done was blink obs and use this cliff area to get up. That was really the only way he could get in, because of course you can't punch through this front here with 2 barracks there. That Zealot taking a good bit of damage, but hey, sees all the Marines on the way out and is like, hey, I know what you're doing. Gets to check for any add-ons, knows that then of course there's no gases down, which is all good news for him. The command center, or should I say orbital command now, is on its way down into the natural, so that is all nice and pretty. Meanwhile, GoOdy getting up his 2nd gas, his natural nearly up and running. He's got the pylon there, holding the watchtower with the Zealot. Handful of Marines pushing forward. They're going to be able to deal with the Zealot quite nicely should they want to. And obviously if they get up close to the Zealot before ToXiC reacts, GoOdy may actually get the kill on it as well. And with a grand total of 5 Marines, they do manage to get the kill. That is really, really quite nice early on. If we look at the resources lost, we can of course see that already 175 gone for ToXiC compared to the 50 loss of GoOdy. That would be a scouting worker. Well, a 2nd gateway being added on. Really, nothing too exciting going on right now. Just like, I'm getting a sentry. This is all good. I'm getting another gateway. Meanwhile, down to GoOdy's base, like, I've got 2 barracks. I'm adding on 2 more barracks. I've got my 2 gas up now. Literally, it's like Noah's Ark, and the amount it's been raining in England, it very well could be. It's just like, you get 2 barracks, 2 gateways. Oh, we've got 3 gateways now. Ruin the chain there, GoOdy. Oh, not GoOdy. ToXiC ruining the chain. All bad, but here we go. We've got a slight bit of aggression coming in, not too much, but of course 2 Stalkers and the Sentry could have a bit of a tough time dealing with this. One Stalker potentially could go down here. The other Stalker getting surrounded quite nicely, takes a huge amount of damage, and of course now ToXiC is going to have to be very, very careful with those units because he's not got very many at all. He warps in another Stalker, but well, this little bit of poking and prodding is forcing all of the probes to be pulled off, which of course is delayed mining time. That Sentry does not get a second force field down. If it goes, and it does go, that is quite a big loss straight away. A Stalker goes down as well, and this is without doubt great aggression out of GoOdy. Now, I know the resources lost are equal now, which obviously when GoOdy was ahead, it seems like he came off worse in that engagement, but he picked off the Sentry very early on. That is a lot of gas. And that early gas is, of course, oh so important. Also, sentries, if they're alive from the very beginning of the game, of course, bank up a lot of energy, which means that they've got more force fields, potentially more guardian shields, etc. So that is just a great play by GoOdy that I really like that. He's getting up, ToXiC is getting up the Twilight Council behind this, so going for a blink style play. Also, charge is a possibility. Meanwhile, though, the second bunker coming up for GoOdy. This second bunker is really in response to, hey, I just came to be really aggressive. I lost a couple of marines, so I'm a bit low marine count. I'll get a second bunker in case you're counter-attacking, because that's one thing you've always got to think in the back of your mind, that hey, what if ToXiC just thinks I can't really come back from this, I'm too far behind, I'm going to go and attack you. And well, we've got the 4th gateway, we've got the double forge as well as the Templar archive, so well, not going to be blink play, going to be going straight up to High Templar, which is an interesting way of doing it. Dignitas Bling actually quite favours going High Templar first instead of going the usual Colossi first. The reason for that is just because they do good splash damage, you get them out slightly early, you can feed back Medivacs as well, which can really be potent against drops. And generally it's just pretty cool. Meanwhile, Missile Turret coming up, great decision making out of here for GoOdy. He's like, well, I was a bit aggressive, maybe ToXiC feels behind, if behind you Dark Shrine, so I'll get detection. So really just covering all the bases, all the possibilities that could be coming at him to make sure he's in a good stead. And if we look at the working on actually, we can see here ToXiC actually getting quite a long way ahead, 44 to 38. When we factor mules in though, we can see here that actually the mineral income very similar. Basically the same, slightly ahead for ToXiC, but all in all, pretty good. Meanwhile, we've got the High Templar Storm on its way. We've got Charge coming down as well. The other advantage of High Templar is, of course, it opens up the possibility of going Zealot Archon, which is very strong in the mid-game, and it also means that once those High Templar are gone, well, you just morph them into Archons once the Storms are off, and then you've got double use out of them. So that is all very nice. Meanwhile, we've got the Medivacs coming out, and of course, once the Medivacs hits, it's very important indeed. We've also got a critical upgrade, Stim, very nearly finished, and we have GoOdy moving out in order to try and engage while Stim is going. So once Stim finishes, he's going to push across. He's already pushing across. He's going to engage once Stim finishes and be able to do an awful lot of damage, because of course without the splash damage, ToXic's going to have trouble. It's as simple as that, and he doesn't yet have any High Templar. Oh no, he does have 2 High Templar. Where are they? They're sitting at the back here ready to feed back Medivacs. That's what they're doing. So of course, they're just hiding back there. But that means that, hey, if Storms don't go off, they don't have the energy for Storms, which, as you can see, at the moment they don't. They're about 10 energy shy. And also, the upgrade isn't quite yet done. That, of course, means that if this push were to hit now, it'd be a bit of a problem. But as we can see, ToXiC, for the moment, is going to be safe because GoOdy is pulling back. He's just like, okay, I threatened it. I forced 2 force fields. That's all good news for me. The 1-1 upgrade's just kicking in now, though, for ToXiC. So in a very nice spot. Meanwhile, the double engineering bay is down, and of course, the second engineering bay down rather, so we've got the plus 2-1 upgrades coming down for GoOdy. So that means that there will be a slight upgrade advantage for ToXiC momentarily while he's at 1-1, which is great news for him, because Protoss Army obviously is more expensive. You want to be as cost effective as possible. These rocks getting taken down, but hey, Factory, what are you doing? Are you going to be blocking the expansion? I think you are. You can't build a Nexus, ToXiC. Did you have too much at Christmas? Because hey, this won't work. That factory is going to be oh so irritating. The scan going down sees the High Templar. That's critical. Ghost Academy already on its way though. So that, of course, is great news, because if you've got a Ghost Academy, you can start producing ghosts, which start EMPing and sniping those High Templar to death, which is fantastic news for every Terran player in the world. Meanwhile though, the tech switch is going on, if I can find it. There we go, the robotics facility coming down. The reason for this is because you need a combination of High Templar and Colossi. Not only because if you only go 1, the Terran can build, in this case, a lot of ghosts and really just counter you, and you can't really do much about it, but also if you get Colossi up, they do more sustained damage than Storm on its own. One Zealot suiciding into a bunch of Marines and Marauders there, because why on earth not? The 3rd command center is down. We meanwhile have more Medivacs coming out, we have more add-ons coming on for the barracks. We do as well have the Mobius reactor, so of course ghosts will have 25 additional starting energy. The 2-1 upgrades on their way nicely. 2-2 is coming down though. The chrono boosts are hitting on these forges as well, which of course great news. This factory just coming and chilling back on the ground there, and we've got a bit of an engagement coming in the middle. Are these zealots going to be able to do much? A good stim, and that was a really nicely timed stim there, out of the storm as well, so not taking much damage there. The zealots could get taken down. A great split out of GoOdy, who is just playing absolutely superbly right now. As you can see, ToXiC though is way ahead in the APM, so storms are starting to hit. The zealots taking quite a bit of damage though, and are going to get cleaned up quite nicely. ToXiC is almost certainly going to be forced back, but a great defensive stim, and if GoOdy follows that, he is going to take very large amounts of damage, so I'm surprised he went for that. And of course ToXiC feeling like he's got the better massive units right now, getting the feedback on a medevac. That was very nice. Meanwhile though, the robotics bay is on its way down. We've got 2 robotics facilities, there we go. So double Colossi production will be imminent. Meanwhile, we do of course have that immortal coming out. We've got the 3rd base floating down for GoOdy as well. So all in all, GoOdy, he is expanding with his opponent. He knows from this factory that that 3rd base is down, and of course he's just getting up behind this, more barracks. He's ramping up his production just as he should be. The important thing he needs to scout fairly soon though is this. He needs to know that that robotics bay is down, because otherwise he's not going to be able to start the Viking production unless he does so blindly, which wouldn't be a bad thing to be honest, because around this time in the game, around the 15-minute mark, if you've seen High Templar, you know that the Protoss rather is probably going for Colossus, and if you've seen a lot of Colossus, you know they're probably switching into High Templar, or at least they should be at high level of play. Now, looking down here, ToXiC getting up his level 3 ground weapons, probably start level 3 ground armor. That is comparing, of course, to the 2-1 upgrades, now plus 2 infantry armor on its way down. So 2-1 rather, on its way, 3-2 on its way for GoOdy compared to 3-3 on its way, or soon to be on its way, for ToXiC. So he is still keeping the upgrade advantage. This pylon is getting spotted and getting taken down hard. We do now have the 2nd starport being added on. This is really important because that of course will allow GoOdy to start producing 4 Vikings at a time in order to deal with the Colossi when they hit the field. The first 2 obviously down now. And there goes the scan, the absolute money scan right now. Did see the Colossi. I know it didn't see it on camera, but where they were, it was definitely picked up. That means, of course, Vikings straight into production here. So GoOdy, just he knows his timings oh so well. Shows why good scans are important, and all in all, GoOdy is perfectly prepared in order to deal with what his opponent can throw at him. Looking at the work count, 63 to 62 in favour of GoOdy. When you factor mules in as well, that puts him a nice way ahead in terms of the mineral income, and pretty much equal gas income. Now he's taking his 3rd base as well. The 4th command centre coming down. A little supply depot wall off. Another missile turret. So clearly DTs are a worry of GoOdy. It's a ladder game, so I don't know if he's being DT rushed or anything like that, but you don't want to lose a best of 1 game to DTs. That is always a reason to rip your computer out of the rip your keyboard out of the computer and throw it on the floor. Not that anyone here has ever done that in frustration of getting DT rushed. Meanwhile though, looking around, what else do we have? More Stalkers adding on. Both pairs really similar in supply actually, which is good news. The Colossi count up to 4. We do have a 5th one on the way, and, well, an Observer. So this is really a nicely rounded army for ToXiC in my opinion. Those 4 Colossi, 6 High Templar, and 2 Immortals are going to be able to deal with everything ToXiC can throw at him well. The Viking count slowly ramping up though. 5 already, 4 more in production. That'll take us up to 9 for those of us who aren't so good at maths. A drop, gearing up. Where are you going? Nowhere. Don't you just love it? As some of you may or may not know who've basically visit my channel frequently, I've been playing random in Heart of the Swarm from playing Zerg in Wings of Liberty, and the amount of times I've accidentally picked up a drop playing as Terran is absolutely absurd. I do it so often, and it is so frustrating, but as a caster, when you see that happen, you're just like, oh my god, they're going to go for it! No, they're not doing a drop. And you get all excited because you think it's going to be epic. Of course, drops wouldn't work, cannons are down, everything is pretty much well defended, so that is good news for ToXiC anyway. 3 more gateways, he's ramping up all his production nicely. Plus 3 ground armor on its way, already plus 3 weapons finished, so that should be done up nicely. We do have plus 3 weapons, infantry weapons I should say, about to finish up literally in 2 seconds time for GoOdy. He's got plus 3 armor nearly done as well. He's getting level 2 ship weapons, of course exceptionally important, because that's going to allow these Vikings to engage the Colossi oh so much quicker. 13 Vikings are down up against the 5 Colossi on the field. Gonna have to be careful though. He needs good positioning still if he's going to engage, and ToXiC needs good positioning and good defense of these Colossi if he's going to do well in the big engagements. The 4th base coming down, 4th base, morphing into a planetary fortress here for GoOdy. Interestingly taking the right-hand side as opposed to the left. The Zealot coming over and checking here because that's where you would expect to see it. More missile turrets down also helps about keeping down any observers, which is always good news as well. In terms of the observers, I'm not actually sure where they are at the moment. There is one on the field, definitely. there's 2 on the field, but I have no clue where they are in the slightest. So, never mind that. I'm sure there's somewhere. Oh, wait, we'll find one. One's just chilling over here. That's good. Meanwhile, some Vikings coming in, trying to snipe down a Colossus. Doesn't quite manage to do it, though. That is a bit of a shame. Meanwhile, the rest of these units pulling back. It's all looking fine. We do have this factory chilling up in the high ground, just being like, I know you're expanding. And, of course, ToXiC also knows that GoOdy's expanding because he sees it there. Now, meanwhile, we've got a small little Zealot warp in down here, being incredibly irritating. These ghosts and marines didn't get the memo that you actually have to attack the enemy. They just want to come and watch, but of course the Zealots, being a bit silly, running straight into them there, giving away their position, and really the prompt they need, that if I'm dying, I should probably do something about that. Meanwhile, High Templar coming around, some feedbacks, I don't know if no feedbacks went down on the medevacs, but of course, we've got a careful engagement coming in. The Vikings are going to be able to snipe off those Colossi incredibly quickly. 3 go down nearly instantaneously, and ToXiC could very well lose the game right now because of that. Those Vikings managed to get such good hits off, only 1 Colossus remaining on the field. Of course, those 12 Vikings are doing oh so much damage, with +1, +2 about to kick in as well. It's going to make them absolutely devastating. Meanwhile, we've got more Zealot warpins coming down here for ToXiC. He's going to go into the 3rd base, and well, this 3rd base is going to take some pretty hefty damage if GoOdy doesn't react in time, but he does. He's going to chase down those Zealots. 4 are still going in though. Are they managing to get any kills? We'll wait and see. They do get 1 kill. Any more? No, just the 1. So, of course, 18 workers have been killed by ToXiC, so that's not too bad. It does give him the worker lead. He doesn't have the 4th base yet, though, and, of course, his main army coming in, though, to knock out GoOdy's 4th, which is great news for him, because, let's face it, if that goes down, GoOdy is now really committed to engaging. The final Colossi does fall. That is a huge loss in itself. A blink forward tries to cut off the Vikings, hoping to do some damage. Meanwhile, these Zealots are coming in everywhere and anywhere, and ToXiC really forcing GoOdy to multitask to the absolute max in order to try and deal with all of these warpins, with all of this Zealot multi-prong aggression, and for the most part he's doing okay with it. This pylon finally going to go down though, GoOdy being like, hey, I've had enough of all of this. Stop warping in Zealots to my base. It is so damn irritating. Looking up though, ToXiC, his 4th base is on its way. Unfortunately, GoOdy had prepared another orbital command. It's like Blue Peter. I don't know if you get that in any other country other than England, but Blue Peter, they always used to teach kids how to make things, and then of course, if it was a step which was like, and then you take it out the oven in 3 hours, and then from under the table they'd be like, and here's one I prepared earlier. So it was the next step ready for the program. And well, GoOdy, chilling there with an orbital command he prepared earlier, which apparently is a bit drunk and was like, I'm going to come and land. No, I'm not going to come and land. I don't feel in the mood for that. But we do have the Protoss army moving its way forward. Those 2 Colossi are out on the field. The missile turret was sacrificed. The poor missile turret. We've got good numbers of Vikings still with 4 Colossi on the field, but only 2 with the army. The other one is chilling up here. The other one is chilling over here. Those Colossi are not really in the mood for fighting. They are lovers, not fighters, and as a result are just going to chill back here. One more has been picked up. This one has no clue what it's doing right now. The rally points are right, so I don't even know how it ended up there. It's just like, hey, I'm a Colossus, and I'm just going to stand here. Oh, ToXiC did select it for a second there. So it is selected somewhere. Where even is that? I don't know. But he's going for it. He's trying to. That's the good thing. But, well, GoOdy, he's arching around. He's going to come and check around. Potentially looking to take this base. Is he sending a probe over? No, he's not. He's positioning his army as if he'd like to, though. Good number of cannons here. Handful of High Templar as well, ready to storm should an infantry burst come up. The 4th base for GoOdy, up and running on the other side of the map now. This Zealot happily chipping and chopping away at the only missile tower remaining. All the Vikings and medevacs having a Viking and medevac party. Only air units allowed. All these infantry are just like, hey, I want to come to the party. And they're like, no, this is pretty exclusive. You're not on the list. So no. Meanwhile, though, +3. +3 ship air weapons. +2 ship plating also on its way. But what's this? Oh my goodness, the Protoss army's coming in. ToXiC. It could do a huge ton of damage here. And GoOdy is so out of position. The missile turret sees it though. What is GoOdy going to do? Is he going to try and arch around? Is he trying to go and clip off all of ToXic's army from behind? Gonna go, yes he is, but there's the storm. The absolute money storm. So much damage done there. ToXiC doing absolutely hideous amounts of damage to GoOdy. And GoOdy just like, what? That is crazy. His army not even moving. Just being like, you can have that base. That was just oh so good. Meanwhile, the Ghosts moving forward. GoOdy in serious problems now. He's 20 odd supply behind. He's starting production of a lot more though. He's trying to stim forward. The Colossi going to do huge damage. And just look at that infantry ball melt. Meanwhile, those Vikings not doing enough damage to the Colossi. And well, I think GoOdy could pretty much be out there. The Stalkers chipping away at the Ghosts. The Colossi chipping away at the Ghosts. The Colossi are even actually falling to the Vikings, but ToXiC is just like, I don't mind. I got so much stuff right now, warping in just oh so many units, and suddenly GoOdy is in an absolute heap of trouble. Nearly 100 supply behind his opponent, and well, that is never fun. ToXiC literally must be doing backflips with joy right now. That is why he's not coming to kill GoOdy straight away, but in comes the force. In comes all of the Stalker reinforcements. The 4th base already dead. The natural base mined out. The 3rd base is muling to death. It's just like, mules are good units. If anything can save me, mules can, says GoOdy. But well, he's sending up more units to their death. A medevac, but there comes the GG. And well, that was the game. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, like the video, subscribe, and leave a cool comment. Of course, new games up every single day of the week. So thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you tomorrow for yet another new cast. I was Madals, and well, bye for now.